They say everyone's got a vice. For some, it's booze. For others, it's women. For me, it was something printed on shiny cardstock with tiny boxes and dreams folded inside. Yep, I was addicted to lottery tickets. Powerball, Mega Millions, Lucky Sevens, Golden Scratch Dream. Even weird local ones like Cash Rain Weekly and Mega Jack Lightning that sounded like they were made up in a basement. And it wasn't just a weekend hobby, it was a lifestyle. I once spent $700 in a single week chasing a scratch card dream. My wife called it my glossy paper mistress. But let me back up a bit. I'm Kevin. Steady job in a mid-size IT firm, decent paycheck, nothing flashy. I wasn't rolling in dough, but I wasn't hurting either. The apartment I live in? Inherited from my grandma. A cozy 2-bedroom in a good neighborhood, hardwood floors, a view of the park, and just enough vintage charm to make it feel like home. My life wasn't perfect, but it was functional. Married to Lacey for 7 years. 2 kids, Mia, my quiet little bookworm, and Chasen, who never stopped asking questions. I loved them, still do. But Lacey, well, Lacey hated the tickets. At first, she laughed about it, called me Mr. Scratch and Win. But months turned into years, and those harmless stacks of paper turned into fights. She saw wasted money. I saw hope. She saw a man chasing fantasies. I saw the one ticket that could change everything. The final straw? I don't even remember the exact day. It all blurred together in a haze of scratched-off silver dust and disappointed sighs. But I do remember her standing by the door, suitcase in hand, and saying, "You're more committed to your damn tickets than you ever were to this family." Ouch. She moved out with the kids, got a place across town. I sent the checks every month and took Mia and Chasen on weekends. Bowling, pizza, the zoo, I tried. But there was always this empty space in the back seat when they left. Like someone hit mute on the soundtrack of my life. That was the low point. Or at least I thought it was. Until the fountain. It was one of those scorching July afternoons, where even the pigeons look like they're too tired to flap. I had just bought a stack of tickets from the corner gas station. Some Powerball. A couple of Gold Rush Midnight cards, only 3,000 printed limited edition shiny as hell, and a weird new one called Big Win Bonanza. I clutched them to my chest like a gambler's Bible and made my way across the park. That's when I saw her, sitting at the edge of the fountain, feet dipped in the water, hair clinging to her face. Her eyes were red and swollen like she'd cried an ocean dry. She wasn't trying to hide it either, just sitting there broken. I'm not a hero. I'm not the guy who usually stops for strangers, but something about her, the way she stared into the water like she was hoping it would swallow her, hit me like a punch to the chest. I walked over, slow, unsure. Sat down a few feet away. "You okay?" I asked. She didn't answer right. Away. Just kept staring at the ripples. Then finally she said, "I got laid off this morning. Rent's due in a week. I got $38 in my account, so..." "Yeah, totally okay," I laughed. Not out of mockery, just one of those sad, awkward laughs that escapes when you don't know what the hell else to say. I looked down, at the tickets in my hand. A stupid idea popped into my brain. "Here," I said, offering them. "Take these." She blinked. "What?" "They're lottery tickets," I shrugged. "Maybe one of them's the lucky one. Who knows? Could be your escape plan." She looked at me like I was crazy. Which, to be fair, I probably was. "Why would you give me your tickets?" "Because you look like someone who needs a win more than I do." She hesitated, then slowly reached out and took them. I swear I saw the tiniest smile twitch at the corner of her mouth. We talked a bit after that. Her name was Sonia. She had been a customer service rep at some insurance company before they downsized. No family in the area. Roommate just moved. Out. Bad luck stacked on bad luck. Before we left, we swapped numbers. I didn't expect anything. Maybe she'd scratch them off, toss them in the trash, and that would be that. I was wrong. A week later, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Kevin?" a familiar voice said. "Yeah?" "It's Sonia. You're not going to believe this." I held my breath. One of the tickets, the Golden Scratch Dream one, it won $50,000. I nearly dropped my phone. "I'm not kidding," she said, half laughing, half crying. "You saved my life." That night, we had dinner. Nothing fancy. Burgers and fries at this old-school diner with red booths and milkshakes the size of your head. It wasn't a date, not yet, but it felt like the start of something. And yeah, I did check my pockets afterward, just in case I accidentally gave her the one I marked as lucky. Spoiler alert, I did. But I didn't mind. Not one bit. What started as a burger and a milkshake turned into tacos the next week, then pancakes, then a movie night. And then one morning I woke up and there she was, barefoot in my kitchen, frying eggs like she belonged there. And honestly, she did. Sonia moved in 6 months after that first dinner, and a year later we got married in a small ceremony with plastic chairs and a crooked cake that leaned like it had been drinking. Mia was the flower girl. Chasen wore a clip-on tie and tried to take it off every 5 minutes. It was chaos. It was perfect. We didn't have kids of our own. Life just didn't go that route for us. But Sonia never made it feel like something was missing. She was there for Mia's first heartbreak, for Chasen's science fair disaster, for every scraped knee and late-night phone call. She never tried to be their mom, just someone who gave a damn. And that was more than enough. Our house became a museum of memories, photos on every wall. The fridge covered in old drawings and lotto tickets. Yep, still going strong with those. I even dedicated an entire wall in the hallway to losing tickets. Framed, organized. Some people collect art. I collected almosts. Sonia used to laugh at that wall. Said it was the saddest gallery in America. But she didn't tear it down. She understood me, or at least she used to. 15 years flew by faster than I ever expected. But one thing never changed. My obsession with the lottery. I tried quitting. I really did. But there was always a new game, a new guaranteed system online, a limited edition scratcher like Mystery Millions, or that ridiculous one from Florida called High Roller Spin, where you could win a yacht you probably couldn't afford to maintain. Once I drove 2 hours across state lines just to get a bundle of Florida Lucky Strike tickets because rumor had it someone in my area was due to win big. Sonia would roll her eyes and call my scratch-offs our third person in the bed. At first it was a joke, then it became a sigh, then a fight, then a silence. She started sleeping in the guest room some nights, said I snored, but I knew it wasn't the snoring. It was the wall of tickets, the obsession, the empty promises. I made every New Year's Eve. This time I'll stop, babe, seriously. I never did. And then, one night, she left her laptop open on the dining table. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I walked by, saw a notification pop up, and I don't know. Something just felt off. It was a message from someone saved in her contacts as dentist, which was weird because Sonia hated going to the dentist, said the sound of drills made her skin crawl. Curiosity won. I clicked, and that's when I saw it. Dozens of messages. Not from a dentist, obviously. His name was Brad. They worked together. Some corporate team-building program she helped coordinate once a month. The chats started off innocent. Jokes, memes. Ha ha, you're so bad. Kind of stuff. Then it turned into late-night messages, then flirty ones, then a photo of Sonia in the mirror with the caption, "Wish you were here." And then the words that made my stomach drop. I miss you. I think about you all the time. He's obsessed with his tickets. I feel like I live with a ghost. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking, my ears were ringing. And yet, I wasn't even angry. Not right away. Just numb, because deep down, I got it. I had been more in love with a dream of instant wealth than with the woman who actually stood by me. While I was chasing jackpot fantasies, she was slowly slipping away, and I never even noticed. I went to bed that night with the hallway light still on. Couldn't sleep. Just stared at the ceiling, wondering when exactly I became the kind of man someone would want to escape from. She didn't know I saw the messages. Not yet. I didn't say anything. Instead, I scratched off a ticket under the covers. Didn't win a thing. Of course, the headaches had been coming for months, not just your regular tension-type stuff. I'm talking about deep, pulsing pain. That felt like someone was twisting a knife behind my eye. I chalked it up to stress. Maybe too much caffeine. Maybe I just needed a vacation. Or fewer scratch cards. Turns out, I needed a brain scan. I'll never forget the moment the doctor came, in with that look. You know the one. The "I've seen this before" look. He sat down, folded his hands like a therapist about to break bad news, and said, "Kevin, we found something." Something. Such a small word for something so big. It was a tumor. Aggressive. Inoperable. The kind that didn't care about your plans, your mortgage, your to-do list. The kind that just shows up uninvited and flips over the entire table. I couldn't hear most of what came after. My ears were ringing. The walls pulsed. Everything slowed down. I wasn't even scared. It just hollow, like someone reached inside me and scooped everything out. When I told Sonia, she didn't cry. Not at first. She just went still, like her soul left the room for a minute and came back wearing armor. From that moment on, she turned into a one-woman army. She managed my appointments, took a leave from work, cooked my favorite meals, even the burnt lasagna I always said I loved just to make her smile. She set alarms for my meds, fluffed my pillows, shaved my face when I was too weak to do it myself. And then one day, lying in the hospital, "Bed!" I heard her yelling in the hallway. I wasn't supposed to. I was half asleep, drifting in and out. But her voice cut through the fog like a blade. "I told you to stop calling me. He's dying, Brad. He has months left. What kind of person even are you?" Then silence. Footsteps. The door creaked. Open. She came in holding a bottle of ginger ale like it was nothing, smiled, wiped a tear that hadn't even fallen yet. And I just stared at her. She could have left. She could have run off with Brad and never looked back. But she didn't. She stayed. And something in me cracked open. I had spent so long being suspicious, distant, obsessed with numbers on slips of paper. I forgot who she really was. And maybe she had too. But now, here she was, giving up everything to sit beside me while I withered. That's the thing about life. It kicks you in the teeth and hands you a mirror at the same time. A few days later, she walked into my room with a brown paper bag. I raised an eyebrow. She grinned like a kid holding a secret. "Thought you could use a little nostalgia," she said. She dumped the bag onto the blanket, and out tumbled a handful of scratchers. Not just any scratchers. These were the flashy kind I used to love. Mystery Millions, Cash Rain Weekly, and one I'd never seen before. Final Fortune Deluxe, thick cardstock, gold trim, letters that practically screamed, "This is it." I laughed so hard I started coughing. We scratched together just like old times, her using a lucky penny, me using the back of my hospital bracelet. We made jokes. We cheated and scratched prize boxes. First, we didn't win anything on most, a couple of 5s, a 10. Then she handed me the Final Fortune Deluxe. No expectations, just routine. I scratched the numbers, matched the first set, paused, then scratched the second, matched again. I froze. Then came the third set, the one marked jackpot. I scratched, and there it was. The numbers, the gold seal, the tiny holographic crown symbol that meant jackpot winner. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, scratched again, checked the rules on the back, then checked again. It was real, $20,000. I couldn't move my legs, but when I saw the numbers, my brain screamed like I was 16 again. I looked at Sonia, and for a second I thought she might faint. Then she lunged across the bed and hugged me so tight, I thought she might squeeze the life out of me. Not that I had much left to begin with. We both started crying. It wasn't about the money. Not really. It was about what it meant. After everything, the fights, the silence, the tumor, the betrayal, life had thrown me one final bone. But I knew I wouldn't be around to spend it. Still, I could choose where it went. Mia and Chasen called once, awkward, distant, like they were talking to someone they barely remembered. I didn't blame them. I wasn't exactly father of the year. But Sonia, she never left my side. She held my hand during the worst nights. She read me the news, gossiped about her coworkers, showed me TikToks I didn't understand but laughed at anyway. She bought me a t-shirt that said jackpot or bust and made me wear it when the nurses came in. I don't know how much time I had left. Days, maybe weeks, but I knew this. I had won. Not just the lottery. I had won the moment she threw Brad out of her life, came back into mine, and reminded me of the man I used to be, and I would make sure she never forgot what she meant to me. Always thought the hardest part of dying would be the dying itself. Turns out the hardest part is deciding who deserves what you leave behind. When the paperwork for the lottery money cleared and my lawyer came into the hospital room with a folder, the thickness of a small novel, I knew what I had to do. No hesitation, no second guessing. I revised my will. I took out the names of people who hadn't spoken to me in years, distant cousins, old co-workers, friends who vanished the second I got sick. I removed my children, not out of anger, just acceptance. Mia and Chasen were grown, busy, detached. They called once. One of them put me on speakerphone. I left everything to Sonia. $20 million. The lawyer raised his eyebrows. Not even a split? I shook my head. She stayed, I said quietly. When everyone else faded out, she stayed. She wiped, vomit off my chin. She listened to me snore through morphine. She fought with my doctors. She gave up her job, her life, for me. That's rare, he said. Yeah, I whispered. So is a jackpot. I even set up a small camera in my hospital room. Just a little thing tucked into the corner. No one noticed it. But I wanted a record, something more than paperwork, something real. One night, after Sonia fell asleep in the chair next to me, I pressed record, and into the dim light I said, if you're watching this, I'm probably gone. And if you're wondering why I left everything to her, this is why. Because even though she made mistakes, and I know she did, she made the choice to stay. When it mattered most, I hope she uses this money to live the life she deserves. And maybe, just maybe, buys one more ticket for me. Then I smiled, waved to the lens, and shut my eyes. I passed 3 days later. The funeral was small, quiet, rainy, of course, because cliché or not, the sky always seems to know. A few co-workers showed up out of obligation. My kids didn't. Come. Mia sent flowers. Chason sent a text. Sorry I couldn't make it. Work's crazy. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't even hurt. Sonia stood in black, looking like she hadn't slept in weeks. No one sat with her. 3 days later, she got the notification. She was now in full control of a $20 million estate. The media didn't catch on. It was a private win. No cameras, no champagne, just a signature and a wire transfer. She didn't tell anyone. But a week after the funeral, something else came out. A former co-worker of hers, some loudmouth who liked gossip more than spreadsheets, spilled. Sonia and Brad had been involved for over a year. Lunches, flirty texts. A few weekends where she claimed she was at a conference. It spread fast. Family friends whispered. One even emailed my lawyer asking if we'd contest the will based on moral misconduct. My lawyer forwarded the message to Sonia. She didn't respond. I imagine she sat with it and maybe remembered the day she screamed into her phone in the hospital hallway. He's dying, Brad, he's dying. Leave me the hell alone. She did cheat. But she also left the affair behind the moment she found out I was terminal. She walked away from the mess she made and walked into mine instead. Love isn't always clean. Sometimes it's cracked glass and burned bridges and still, saying, I'm not going anywhere. Weeks passed, then months, and then, one spring morning, Sonia walked to the park. Not just any park, the park. The one with the old fountain. The one where a stranger handed her a stack of tickets 15 years ago and said, maybe one of them's lucky. She sat at the same spot, shoes off, toes in the water, in her hands, a single lottery ticket, brand new, bright red, bold letters at the top, second chance gold. She held it the way you hold a memory, not like she expected to win, but like she needed to believe in the idea of trying again. She whispered something. No one was close enough to hear. Then she smiled. That small, trembling smile that only shows up when your heart hurts but still beats, and scratched the first number. I left her $20 million and she spent the first dollar on another ticket.